Hello, my lovely peaches. It's your host, Rach. Welcome to your midweek mindfulness motivation, because it doesn't have to be a Monday to start bettering ourselves. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Right Now with Rach podcast, where we keep it real and talk about all things self-improvement. I am so happy you are here, and I am so proud of you for clicking on this podcast, because I know it means that you are taking steps forward in your journey of personal growth. So welcome, you beautiful soul. Woohoo! I love this conversation that we are having today, because today we are talking about the I'll be happy when complex. How many times have you said to yourself that you will be satisfied when X, Y, or Z happens? I will be confident when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be happy when I switch jobs. I'll be happy when I buy a house. I'll be happy when I start making more money. Or when I do this thing or that thing. The thing is, even if and when we reach our goals, there will always be something else preventing us from hitting destination happiness. It's the same concept as tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. It doesn't exist. We need to stop delaying our happiness by tricking ourselves into thinking that we need something in order to make it a reality. The reality is that happiness is a mindset, not a destination. I've been doing this my whole life, and I know most of you have too. So here's the harsh reality that this conversation is going to bring you, okay? The only thing, quotation marks, standing in between you and your happiness is you. And I know that's cliche, and we've heard all of these things before, but cliches are cliches because they're true. Okay, the reason that we convince ourselves that we need all of these things in order for us to truly be happy is because we're living in a state of ignorance is bliss, because the likelihood of us getting every single thing that we want in life is slim to none. So it's easier for us to just keep putting the blame on our inability to be fully content on the fact that we don't have all these things yet, because we've convinced ourselves that that's what it's going to take. It's harder to work on our mindset than it is to just constantly have a reason to blame for not being happy. Which is weird if you think about it, because we all want to be happy. You'd think we'd just figure out a way to do that. But the majority of us don't realize that it's a mindset and not a destination. Like, we all think we need to get somewhere in order for us to truly sustain our own happiness. Think about this for a minute. Have you ever looked back on a point in your life and said, wow, I would kill to be in that place again? Yeah, but remember when you were in that place and you didn't recognize or embrace it at the time, and you thought you'd be happier down the road for whatever reason? Right? For me, the best example is body image and self-confidence. Like, I look back on my body when I was in high school and I'm like, oh my God, I would be so happy if I had that body now. No, I wouldn't. Because if I had that body now, I would still think there's something wrong with it. Because in high school, did I love it and embrace it and feel happy with it? No fucking way, bro. I thought I was so fat in high school, okay? I had an undiagnosed eating disorder and body dysmorphia, okay? Still do. And I've always thought, once I look like this, I'll be happy. Okay, but my version of that today, this that I'm talking about today, is what I looked like in high school. Okay, so it's just fucking twisted. If we base our destination happiness in that mindset, we'll never be satisfied. Our minds never actually reach that point of contentment because our delusions prevent us from seeing what's actually there. These goals that will make us happy are never finished because we are ever changing. It's like the donkey on the treadmill chasing the carrot, okay? It's just out of reach. He'll never catch it, even though he thinks he will. That's why he keeps going and he keeps trying, thinking he'll be satisfied when he gets the carrot that he's never going to get. We are all depriving ourselves of being happy right now because we keep telling ourselves there's something else we need in our lives in order to be fulfilled. But that is bullshit. We need to focus on being happy with our present situation, present body, present life. Okay? Cool. Society teaches us that we need to look for happiness extrinsically, which means from our external environment, which is basically the foundation of capitalism. You need this thing to be happy, okay? No. We need to rewire our brains. Happiness is only real and sustainable if we are intrinsically motivated, which means we need to believe that we create our experiences. Our experiences are not created for us. You're way more in charge of yourself than you think you are. And this is why we are here, having these conversations, because we all are working on our ability to be self-aware and improve our mindsets. We, as human beings, experience emotion as a response to a given situation. That means that we feel a large variety of emotions on any given day or in any given week, okay? That's normal. I think people trick themselves into thinking that, quote unquote, being happy means that they don't experience sadness at all. But that's not reality. That's actually a mental illness. It is not normal to be upbeat and happy 24/7, okay? So don't strive for that. And don't beat yourself up if that's not how you are and how you feel. Happiness is a sustained state of feeling good, but rather a higher baseline to come back to after you've been able to process your other emotions in a healthy way. Your other emotions, like sadness, will be situational. It won't be consistent. Happiness will be. Does that kind of make sense? So the point is that it is okay not to love everything about your life. And it's good to still strive for improvements. That's healthy. That keeps us constantly growing. It's why you're here with me right now. You might love your life, but you're here because you're trying to improve your mindset. That's a good thing. And I'm not saying that stops. Being happy does not mean stagnant. Like I said, being happy is not a constant state of smiling and feeling bright and uplifted. Sure, that's part of it. And when you're truly happy, you're going to feel more of that. But it truly is about your relationship with life. And I'll emphasize again, it's not a state or a destination. It's fluid. It's the way we relate to our life. It's being able to express genuine gratitude for what's around you. Taking the present moment in and loving it for what it is, not what it could be. And allowing yourself to find the beauty in that. And embrace different emotions and allow yourself to be loved, But here's the kicker, guys. True happiness cannot be faked. In order to manifest this into your current existence, you have to be honest with yourself about everything. You can tell yourself all you want that you are happy with who you are, or you're happy in your relationship, or you're happy with your job, or with your family, or whatever narrative it is that you think you need to have. But the harsh truth of it all is that anything you're lying to yourself about is what's holding you back from that fluidity of happiness. Keeping yourself in the I'll be happy when I do this mentality, lying to yourself about why you can't move on from that, that's the part that needs work, not the goal you're trying to reach. Because even when you do reach that goal, if your mindset hasn't changed, there will just be something else that comes along that's preventing you from reaching that level. So lean into yourselves, guys. Ask the tough questions. Figure out why you're not truly happy and what illusion is holding you back. That is the ultimate first step of this whole conversation. For me in my life, it's myself. It's the way I look and feel about my body and the way I go about my mindset. I love my life and the people in it, and I'm in a very good situation right now. But I constantly tell myself that I'll be happy when I look a certain way, and that's what needs to change. I need to work on being happy with who I am right now, otherwise I'll never achieve true happiness. But like with every conversation we have, Peaches, there is no extreme black and white answer. I am so not telling you to stop making goals in life and following them. Not at all. You need things in life to push you forward and keep you growing and strive towards. It's the mindset shift that you need to make that will make the process of striving for those goals and the feeling when you reach them actually positive. And listen, I've told you guys from day one, I am here to support you and help you to know that you're not alone in your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences. But I've also told you that I'm going to be very honest about things. I don't want to sugarcoat stuff in a way that isn't going to kick you out of your not so ideal mindset patterns. That's not why you're here. You need someone to kick you in the butt and say, let's get moving, Peach. You can't grow without the truth. Sorry, just had to remind you of that so you know why sometimes the things I say might sound blunt or harsh. I'm not mean. I'm trying to support you, and you're here because that's what you need. Okay, so what I was going to say before was, listen, we talked about how sustained happiness cannot be extrinsic. There is nothing in the outside world that can do it for you. There is not one item, not one person, not one place that can cultivate happiness for you. It has to come from within. Sure, there are moments of joy they can bring you. Of course, you're going to be giddy receiving that new phone or diamond ring or guitar or getting a new boyfriend or having a baby or whatever it is. But only until the novelty wears off, and that's the catch. Those things will eventually lose its luster. And true, authentic happiness doesn't come from any of those things. A partner or a trip or a child or a child or a drug or a beverage or whatever cannot fill that void forever. It might feel good temporarily, which is why it's deceiving, right? But I promise you, if you are not internally happy yourself, it won't stick. And that also applies to things that aren't tangible, that aren't physical things, validation from others. That's a big one. Your happiness will not come from other people liking you or hyping up your life. If you don't love yourself and what you're doing, their opinions are not going to change that. It might feel good in the moment. Sure, it might give you a little boost. But if you don't believe it yourself, you can't be happy with it. And the best part about that is that's the same way in the opposite. If you do love yourself in your life, people not liking you or your situation will not affect how you feel deep down. We have to be centered in our own world for it not to be threatened by outside influence. But how do we do that? What are things that you can work on to cultivate your happiness from within yourself? Well, that's where I come in. Number 1, Peaches, stop comparing. I know we've talked about this before, and it comes into play with a lot of conversations, but this is especially important when talking about how to be happy. Stop comparing yourself to others. One of my best friends and I were talking about this a little while ago because we saw someone, we saw someone that we used to be really close with on social media. Holy crap, that made no sense. We were talking about how on social media, we saw somebody that we used to be really close with appearing to be living her best life, okay? And we both had a moment when we were talking about it where we felt FOMO or bitter because we weren't a part of it. And we were upset in a way that those experiences weren't part of our lives either. She was posting stories of her being out at these really cool clubs and laughing and having fun and drinking, and it stung a little. But I'm starting a family and my life is completely different from that kind of scene now. And my girl that I was talking to moved further away and she's focusing her energy on her new business and being an entrepreneur. So the reality was that comparing all of our lives was like comparing sharks to apples. It just doesn't make sense. But my point is that in doing so, we made ourselves a little sad and for a few moments felt like that's what we needed in our lives in order to be happy like her. And as we were talking about it and we're having this conversation, we both realized how silly it was to parallel our experiences. Everyone has a different version of what happy looks like. And my friend said something to me that's really stuck, and I believe it's so true. She said, I need to remind myself that comparison is the thief of joy. I'm going to say that one more time for you because it's fucking awesome. Comparison is the thief of joy. Like, damn, like she's right. Especially with social media nowadays. Comparing ourselves to others is almost so easy. It turns subconscious that we do it constantly without even knowing it. But here's the real kicker, Peaches. That happiness that you're searching for, that's what everyone else is pretending to be online. Some of them might truly be, but most people, like, we all put our best foot forward. At the end of the day, the truth is that nothing is ever as good as it seems from an outsider's perspective. So really, we are just constantly comparing ourselves to a warped version of reality that doesn't actually exist anyway. I really do feel that people who are genuinely happy and successful don't gloat about it or show it. I think it is 1000% okay to post things on your social media. Of course, we all do it. I do it. But the motivation is without having to prove it to anyone. It's more for yourself. And you need to take a really hard look at the reasons behind why you post the things that you do. Is it to prove something? Or, get some attention to boost your self-esteem? Or is it genuinely just for you? That's the next thing. If you do find you're posting on your social media to gain validation from others, which no judgment from me on that one, babe. I get it. Getting attention on your post fucking feels good. But if that's what you're doing as opposed to posting because you're genuinely confident, wow, English is hard. As opposed to posting because you are genuinely confident in what you're doing and you just want to share it without caring how it's received, that's difficult. It sounds like kind of the opposite of what social media was designed for, though, doesn't it? Kind of fucked up, right? Imagine if you just took photos of happy moments instead of taking photos to look good doing something. Wild concept. Well, it shouldn't be. If you're listening to this and you're old enough to remember when social media didn't completely run our lives, remember that's what cameras were for capturing special moments we wanted to remember. So cool. If you're too young to recall that time, it's okay. I'm happy you're here. I love you. Just try to imagine not having a cell phone that documented every single thing you did. Like, we used to have to make a conscious effort to bring a physical camera with us to take photos only of what we cared about, and then made an effort to go and get those pictures developed in order to see and remember them. Wild, right? Feels like the freaking Stone Ages. Now, there's no way we're ever going back to that. And I'm not saying that I want to or that we should, but it's that mentality that we should try to adopt back. Having the purpose of capturing moments to be truthfully just to capture the happy moment you're experiencing and then moving on. Not to set up the perfect photo and take 100 shots just to get the perfect one for Instagram. Oh, I still do this. Don't worry. I am making a conscious effort to work on that. Because here's the thing. When you look back on these pictures, you are completely posed. Your perfected shot is not an accurate representation of the moments in your life. You're fabricating a narrative that's not true to how you actually feel. And that is going to prevent you from finding happiness within yourself. You don't look back on half those photos and smile because of what you're remembering. No, babe. You look at it and you say, yeah, okay, that looks good. Good, awesome, that looks great. But what about feeling good? Why isn't that your priority? Society has brainwashed into doing everything for the way it looks to others. Fuck, we need to be doing things for ourselves. I don't think I'm even numbering anything anymore. Number one, I think I started with, I don't think I numbered anything after that. I should have been maybe a bit more organized, but here we are being authentic. So here's the next thing that you can do to cultivate your internal happiness. Remember. And it goes along with what I was just talking about, and it's going to sound extremely harsh, but don't give me the finger just yet. Hear me out. Nobody gives a fuck about you. And Peach, I mean that in the nicest possible way. Not in the way that means you're not important. Of course you are. I think you're so important. But the reality is that we're all afraid that everyone around us is judging us. We don't do certain things or try other things in fear that people are watching or making constant judgment about us. Peach, nobody cares. Think about it. Do you pay attention to other people in the gym? Do you watch people walk to the bathroom at a restaurant and notice anything about them? No, nobody's doing it to you. And if there's one person, they're completely irrelevant, okay? All we are doing is projecting our insecurities onto faceless people in a crowd that don't actually exist. If we're insecure about something for one reason or another, we convince ourselves that everyone we meet around us is focusing on that, or that random strangers that you pass on the street notice these things about you, when really they probably don't even notice you at all. We are all so consumed with our own lives and we're wrapped up in our own thoughts that 9 times out of 10, we're not even remotely paying much attention to the people around us. And that's not necessarily a negative thing. It's not a rude thing. It's not because we don't care. Well, it is because we don't care, but like not in a bad way. So stop letting that affect what you do. Stop letting it prevent you from being your authentic self, because it's holding you back and putting a stop on your ability to just let go and be happy. Do the things you want to do. Don't hold back because you're preventing yourself from reaching your full potential. Destination happiness isn't a real destination. Make it your current reality by shifting your mindset to believe that you can find it in where you currently are. It's about appreciating the things that you already have and not looking to fill any external voids. Dig internally to create your own happiness, and stop letting fear of judgment prevent you from being yourself and going after what you actually want. Happiness is now, Peaches. It's not 10 years from now when you reach your goals. You'll be happy then too, but you have to be happy now first. And you're in more control of that than you think you are, okay? Start working on it. And as always, with today's topic coming to an end, I am here to remind you of your progress. You making a step forward, even if it's just one, Peach, is a step in the right direction and something you should be proud of. I know I'm proud of you. You are beautiful, you are smart, and you can do anything. Talk to you soon. Mwah.